Terence Crawford was already impressing top boxers like Timothy Bradley early in his career because he was that good. Today, he's one of the best in the world, and other fighters come to spar with him. But they don't usually win because Crawford is just on another level. Even though he's naturally right-handed, he's also very skilled with his left hand. When he spars, he often shows off his powerful left-handed punches. Fans know it takes a lot of hard work to develop punching power, and Crawford has definitely put in the effort. One of the main tools Crawford uses to improve his boxing is the heavy bag. It helps him work on his punching technique and build shoulder strength. Watching him in action, you'll see him throw powerful punches, quick combinations, and everything in between. To get the most out of his training, Crawford mixes up the rhythm of his punches, sometimes hitting the bag gently and other times with full force. This exercise helps him improve his overall boxing skills and stay at the top of his game. Crawford has spent most of his life working on his skills with his coaches. One of the main parts of his training is pad work, where he doesn't worry about hitting hard or fast. Instead, he focuses on different moves and strategies for both offense and defense. Crawford and his coaches also use tools like reaction noodles and a punch shield to help improve his movement and accuracy. When it comes to shadow boxing, Crawford's skills stand out, showing just how much he's mastered his craft. What really makes Crawford stand out is how calm he stays and how well he adapts to any situation in the ring. He makes throwing both offensive and defensive punches look effortless. But there's more to him than just that. Crawford is mentally tough, too. He often trains in tough conditions to push himself even further. When he's not doing that, he uses light 2 kilograms dumbbells to shadow box. This helps him build strength while keeping his speed and grace, so he can hit hard and stay quick on his feet. Crawford is always working to get better at his accuracy and timing. To help with this, he trains with a special bag called the double-end bag. It's great for practicing footwork and head movement, both important in the ring.
60? Yeah, Canelo ain't gonna come down, maybe 166 max if he accepts. I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size.
His coach, BAC, keeps him sharp by using sticks to surprise him, making him react defensively. Crawford's nutrition plan also plays a big role. He focuses on lean proteins, healthy carbs, and staying hydrated to make sure he's at his best and recovers well during camp. He trusts his coach to handle all the details, so he can focus on training. Crawford doesn't stress about his meals. His nutritionist takes care of everything, telling him what to eat and cooking it for him. He told Muscle and Fitness that the last time she was with him throughout the entire camp, she handled all the food, so he didn't have to worry about anything. He just ate what she prepared. Despite being one of the most desired by fans of the sport, I'm not a big fan of that fight, Garcia said, highlighting the weight difference between the Mexican and the American, and remembered how Crawford suffered against Israel Madoff after moving up to 154 pounds 3 categories. The Mexican fighter's power and size would likely give him the edge in a potential matchup, which is why I'm not too excited about that fight. Crawford has already proven himself at 140 and 147, and now moving up to 154 would be even harder for him. Garcia also said that if Crawford really wants to test himself, he could go for an undisputed title in his current weight class. The problem, though, is that there's not much money in that fight. Garcia pointed out that a fight between Crawford and Canelo could be big, but it's still a complicated situation. Even though the fight can make a lot of money, Garcia, as a fan, isn't a fan of the matchup. He'd prefer to see Alvarez fight opponents within his weight class or even challenge bigger fighters like URBB or have a rematch with Dimitri Bivol. He mentioned that Canelo is already fighting at 168, and Crawford just moved up to 154, where he struggled a bit in his last fight. Garcia also said that if Crawford wants to truly test himself, he should go for 164, 165, or 166, and eventually move up to 175 to face bigger opponents, instead of taking on a smaller guy moving up in weight. The much-anticipated fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez is getting fans and experts talking more than ever. Crawford, praised for his skill and versatility, is planning to move up 2 weight classes to challenge Canelo, the undisputed super middleweight champion. This bold move has split opinions in the boxing community. Some believe Canelo won't drop back down to 160, with many thinking 166 would be the lowest he'd go if he ever decides to move down. Deontay Wilder, the former heavyweight champion, recently shared his thoughts on the Crawford vs. Canelo fight. In an interview with ES News, Wilder expressed his concerns about Crawford jumping from 147 to 168, saying it's a huge leap. He pointed out that even though Crawford can switch between southpaw and orthodox, fighting bigger guys feels totally different. It's like you're a baby out there, he said. While he doesn't think Crawford can't do it, he believes it's a big challenge. Wilder also pointed out that moving up in weight isn't easy and takes time. He explained that the way punches feel and are absorbed is totally different when facing bigger opponents. Since then, Crawford has taken a step forward by winning the WBA super welterweight title, closing the weight gap. Wilder added, "If they fight, I'll be there. It's going to be a great one." Both guys are talented, determined, and have that killer instinct. Still, there's a lot to think about. Even with this achievement, there's still a tough 14-pound gap between Crawford and Canelo, and that could really impact how the fight plays out. Canelo, known for his powerful punches and stamina, has made a name for himself as a top force in the super middleweight division. Even though he's lost twice in his career, both by decision, he's always shown amazing defense and toughness, proving he's one of the hardest fighters to beat. This fight is shaping up to be an exciting one. It's going to be an exciting fight, but it's also a big challenge for Crawford. Wilder said, "If they fight, I'll be there. It's going to be a great one." Both are talented, determined, and have that killer instinct. For Crawford to win, he'll need to show a lot of adaptability and strength when going up against someone like Canelo in a heavier weight class. While Wilder's worries about the weight difference make sense, the buzz around the fight is hard to ignore. This fight is impossible to ignore. Pitting two of boxing's elite talents against each other, this clash of styles and raw power has fans eagerly awaiting what could be one of the sport's most captivating events. It's surprising that Canelo Alvarez would already have a guaranteed opponent for 2025, not for the May date, but for his second fight of the year scheduled for September on the weekend, when the independence of Mexico is celebrated in Las Vegas, named you and Terence Crawford as one of the top 5.
I'll be there. You know what I mean? That's going to be a good one. Both of them great guys. They got great talent. And both of them very determined. Got that killer instinct. And in this sport...
Fans are really hoping for Crawford versus Canelo this year. Is it actually happening? We'll see. After a lot of pressure, Crawford's efforts seem to be paying off, as he's set to fight undefeated American fighter Sheikh Turki Al-Sheikh in a rematch in 2025. But getting Canelo Alvarez to face Crawford won't be easy for the promoters. Canelo had already said it would be a pricey deal, as boxing insider Ray Jackson pointed out. Canelo Alvarez is reportedly asking for $150 million to fight Crawford, a number he mentioned late in 2024 if they wanted him to take the fight seriously. Boxing insider Ray Jackson posted on X that if Canelo gets that amount, he'll be back on top of the list of the highest-paid boxers and athletes in 2025, something he fell off last year. It's still possible, but we'll have to wait and see how things unfold. We want to talk about it and see what happens, he added.
They're not able to walk through me. Honestly, if anybody could jump up in weight classes and do it, it's Terence Crawford. I don't know nobody who is mentally as strong as Terence Crawford. So
Canelo seems to have figured things out, especially after 2024, when some believed he was in a tough spot. The highest-paid boxers that year were Alexander Usyk with $114 million and Tyson Fury with $115 million, thanks to their 2 fights under the promotion of Turki Al-Sheikh. Canelo would likely surpass these figures only with a guaranteed fight against Crawford, along with other earnings from that fight and his upcoming one in May, though his opponent for that match hasn't been confirmed yet. Since his fight with Crawford last year, Canelo hasn't fought in over a year, so it'll be interesting to see how he comes back. There's talk of a possible fight between Canelo and Sebastian Fundora later this year, and it could happen. As for Crawford, if he really wants to challenge himself and be great, I'm all for it. I'd support him, no doubt. If that fight goes down, I'm backing him. On the other hand, Spence had the chance to activate his rematch clause with Crawford, but decided not to. Maybe he feels he needs more time to get ready, but whatever the reason, it looks like he's stepping back for now. Spence Jr. knows just how tough Terence Crawford is. In a tweet from TalkSport editor Michael Benson, Spence shared his thoughts on a possible fight between Crawford and Canelo. He said, "If Crawford fights Canelo, I'm going for him. I don't know if he'll win or lose, but I'll be supporting Crawford. If anyone can pull it off, it's him. He's chasing greatness, so why not?" Spence also pointed out that Canelo moved up to 175, and if Crawford wants to challenge himself and be great, he should go for it. Spence is all for Crawford going after greatness. When asked who he thinks would win, he said confidently, "I'm going for Bud. I'm not sure if he'll win or lose, but if anyone can pull it off, it's him." Roy Jones Jr., a Hall of Famer and respected trainer, also shared his thoughts. He talked about both Crawford and David Benavidez having a good chance against Canelo. He started with Benavidez, saying it's a tough fight to call because Benavidez. Jones talked about how Benavidez throws a lot of punches, and sometimes power can change the game. In an interview with BoxingScene.com, he said, "It's a tough call for Crawford. Canelo's a bit bigger, but Crawford definitely has punching power. Canelo's pretty big, so I'd probably favor him in a fight right now." He also mentioned whether Canelo is willing to take the risk, saying, "I don't think he will at the moment. He doesn't feel like he has a reason to, especially if he doesn't think he can hurt Crawford." Jones doesn't think Benavidez would win the fight, especially in the first few rounds. The two-time 168 pounds champion has been pushing for a shot at Alvarez for the past 2 years. Crawford, once considered the best welterweight, is willing to move up 2 weight classes to take on Alvarez. But Alvarez feels that beating Crawford wouldn't really add much to his legacy, even though a lot of people are giving Crawford a real chance to pull off the win. Jones thinks Crawford should fight Charlo first and see how he handles the weight. If Crawford does well, then maybe he can face Canelo, but not just yet. If anyone can pull it off, it's Crawford. "You can't count him out," Jones said. He also shared his own story, saying, "I was the kind of guy who didn't back down. If someone said they were better than me, I get as close to their weight as possible and go for it. When I won the heavyweight title in 2003, I gave John Ruiz a 33-pound advantage. I didn't care. I wanted to prove I was the best." Crawford probably feels like he's trying to make history right now, doing something that's never been done before. He wants to create a legacy in boxing. Who wouldn't want to see the pound-for-pound best from the past face off against the pound-for-pound best today? It's a massive fight. If Crawford can pack on the muscle and handle the weight, how can anyone doubt him? One thing's for sure, he's not just doing this for the paycheck. He's going out there to fight. And try to win the fight, because that's who Bud is. If he carries the weight, it'll be a good fight. He can box just like Floyd Mayweather, and he can also fight he hits and doesn't get hit. If he can take the punch at that weight, he'll probably win the fight. I want to see Craw come up with some weight classes and show he going be dom at 54. That fight will go see. And see Craw win a pound the fight Jones, who fluctuated in weight during the latter half of his career as a 4-division title holder, said Alvarez should. Jones thinks Alvarez should stick to super middleweight and keep focusing on that division. He didn't get why Canelo moved up to 175 to fight Dmitry Bivol. He already beat Sergey Kovalev, but Kovalev was at the end of his career, while Bivol was in his prime. They're totally different fighters, Jones said. He also pointed out, Canelo caught Kovalev at the right moment. He should go back down to 168 and rule there. Don't go chasing another big fight, because lightning isn't going to strike twice. I'd bet my house on that. Crawford and Canelo share a similar mindset, and Crawford has been eyeing a fight with Canelo ever since his big win over Errol Spence Jr. last year. At first, Canelo wasn't interested in the matchup, but recently he admitted he'd consider defending his super middleweight titles against a smaller Crawford, if the money is right. Shakur Stevenson, who often calls Crawford his big brother, also believes in Crawford's ability to make it happen. Crawford believes he could beat Canelo Alvarez, even with a 14-pound weight disadvantage. Unlike Charlo, Canelo has made it clear that he doesn't want to fight Crawford, mainly because of the size difference. But Crawford isn't worried about that. If anyone can move up weight classes and make it work, it's Terence Crawford, Stevenson said. I don't know anyone mentally stronger than him. Stevenson also thinks the weight won't be an issue for Crawford, who's a former 28-time world champion. The champion believes that skills, not size, are what really win fights. He's confident that Crawford has everything needed to beat Canelo. With his southpaw stance, smooth movement, and solid basics, Crawford could really cause Canelo some problems. That's it for now. For all the latest boxing news, moments, and updates, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on the notifications so you never miss out on our new content.